Hi, boys and girls, it's Mrs. Kemp. Today we are going to continue working with narratives. A narrative is a story that you write. A personal narrative is a story that you write about something that you have done. So when you are writing narratives, whether it's a personal narrative or not, every narrative needs a beginning, a middle, and an end. So when we read stories a lot of the time and we retell them, we talk about what happens in the beginning, the middle, and the end. And when we write stories, it's going to be the same thing. You need a beginning, you need a middle, and you need an end of your narrative. So we're going to talk about some of the books that we've already read and what is the beginning, the middle, and the end in those books. So the book that we read yesterday is called Roller Coaster. And at the beginning of that book, we didn't really know who was the main character in that book by the way that the author wrote it. But at the beginning of the book, they were talking about how they were in line for the roller coaster and that some of the people had been on the roller coaster before and that some of them hadn't, and that some of them had only been like one or two times, and that at least one of them, which was like the main girl of the story, had never been on the roller coaster before. Then in the middle of the book, they started to get closer to the roller coaster and they got into the little train, into the cars of the roller coaster train, and started to get ready to go. And remember, they said if you were already in and buckled in and they did the bell, then you couldn't change your mind anymore. And it also in the middle, it was when like the roller coaster started to go up the hill, like on the chain, like very, very slowly. And then in the end, they rode the roller coaster like all the way down, and it went through all the loops and the drops and all the fun stuff. And at the very, very end, after they got off of the roller coaster, it said that at least one person, which was the little girl, wanted to go on it again. So that means that she had a good time and she liked riding on the roller coaster. So another story, yesterday in my video that I made for you, I was talking about when I saw dolphins when I was at the beach with my parents in Florida. So if I was going to write that into like a story, I would need a beginning, a middle, and an end, which I didn't really tell you yesterday. I just kind of told you like the coolest part of the story. So when we are starting a narrative, there are a few different ways you can start. You can say one day or a long time ago, on a cold winter day, on a hot summer day, last year, on my birthday. Those are all like different ways that you can start. A lot of the times at the beginning is you kind of say when it was happening, and sometimes even you'll say where it was happening. So my beginning of my story would be, it would give a when and a where, because it would be last summer, which is my when, I went to Florida to visit my parents. So it's giving a when and a where. Last summer, I went to Florida to visit my parents, and we went to the beach. That would be my beginning. I'm just telling you who's in the story, what's happening, where it is. In the middle, when we got to the beach, we set up our chairs, we put our umbrella up, we put a blanket out. We were just hanging out and having fun and talking and listening to some music and just relaxing on the beach. And then all of a sudden, we heard someone yelling and pointing towards the water. And we looked up and we saw two dolphins. We saw the fins of the dolphins swimming by. Then at the end, I would say we followed the dolphins we got up and we moved a little bit closer to the water, and we were walking along. A lot of people had noticed them at that point, so a bunch of people were kind of walking along where the sand and the water meet, and kind of following the dolphins going down the beach. And it was really cool. You couldn't see them the whole time, but every once in a while their fins would go up and then back down, and then a little while further down in the water you'd see them go up and then back down. So at last, the dolphins kind of were swimming way faster than we were walking. So in the end, we just, kind of stopped at one point. But we did go down the beach a little ways with them, and it was really, really cool. It was something I had never seen before, and I love dolphins, so it was really fun to see it, and it was cool to see it with my parents because I don't get to see them very often. So it was really fun. So when you're telling your story, when you're breaking a story down, you're always breaking it into beginning, middle, and end. And when you're telling your story too, you want to think of what happened first, what happened in the middle, and what happened last. Now you're going to go on to Seesaw, and you're going to read another story called Knuffle Bunny, and you are going to break down what happened at the beginning, the middle, and the end of that story. And that is on your Seesaw activity for today. So have fun. I hope you like the book.